Yes, it's another Kirblog. This one's about Voltron. Hi, so this is, I'm recording this one also before Anime Expo. By this point, the convention has just wrapped. I hope I got to meet some of you out there listening. I'm also hoping that I had a good time, because I don't know yet. This is the day before the convention that I'm recording this. Whatever, time travel, blah, blah, blah. What's your time? I apologize that I didn't have a specific person to credit for doing this one. A few different people asked me to talk about the new Voltron series, Legendary Defender, on Netflix. So I apologize that I didn't remember, but hopefully that it is satisfying that I am talking about it, as you have asked of me. Voltron. Start with, I did watch the original when it was airing. I think it was on Nickelodeon for a little while, just kind of running. And my sister was actually a fan of it too, and she was like, "Oh, you're watching Voltron? Wow, I watched that show when I was a kid." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I think it was actually a case where I didn't even realize that it was an anime. It might have just been kind of on that cusp of like when Pokemon and DBZ were first kind of, creating the big anime boom of the mid to late 90s or so, kind of around that era, I guess. But either way, yeah, I watched a little bit of it. I had not seen any of the CGI series after that, or Voltron Force, which was the more recent one, just before this one. So my knowledge on Voltron lore and the characters and everything is pretty limited, because I barely remember much of what I saw in the old series. So watching this show is, I went in pretty blind, more or less. I knew there was the 5 pilots and the princess and the assistants of the princess and the evil alien characters that I remembered little to nothing about. So it was kind of good to go in blind. If anything, I had more kind of just like, oh, cool, it's a lot of the same staff from The Last Airbender and Korra. Okay, this should be really cool. So overall, I actually really enjoyed the show. It's not gone down as like, oh my god, this is one of my new favorite series of all time. But it was really enjoyable to the point where I would definitely like to see more. I have a pretty good feeling already just from like how well it seems like it's been doing with people so far, that we're probably going to get at least another season of it worth. It seems like Netflix is banking on it pretty heavily, and for good reason, because it's a pretty good show. Especially with, I don't know how in depth the lore and the stories of Voltron were originally, I guess I can't necessarily even determine if like it's so, in tribute to the original, or if it's much more of its own kind of thing. But I will say I really liked the execution of the main team. I'm the type of person that likes to have a pretty well-rounded, cast of characters in terms of diversity in personalities and looks and races and genders, etc., as much as possible. And for basically only a couple girl characters in the whole thing, and it's mostly kind of a sausage fest of a show overall. But that aside, it still had a really solid main cast. I really liked the dynamic that everybody had. Even the ones that you would perceive as, oh, maybe they're a little shallow, a little one-dimensional or whatever, they still had a lot of intrigue to them. Like, Keith proved to me as more than just, like, I'm the brooding, serious one. He was actually, he was pretty intriguing in and of himself. Pidge, overall, I think, is my favorite character of the main crew of good guys. I won't say too much about that in case any of you listening haven't seen the show yet. But Pidge definitely had the most interesting kind of stuff going on. Lance was really funny. Jeremy Shada does a really funny job with them. It's funny because I do totally understand the comparisons with Sokka and everything, but he definitely makes the character into kind of his own thing. I think it might have just been sort of like, it's the visuals that kind of go with him, and the fact that like he's blue and he has a little bit of a tan and everything. I think it's just kind of easy to draw that comparison, but he feels very much to me like his own character. Hunk, also really funny. Princess Allura, I wasn't totally sure about at first. I was a little kind of on the fence about how I felt about her. I think that by the end of the show, I grew to like her pretty well. Originally, it's fun. Mike Lucas had a great kind of joking impression of her. It was like, "We have to form Voltron. I am British," kind of thing. But from what I understand, from some of the stories I heard, here's a little mini version of a Did You Know voice acting about this Voltron show, I guess. Apparently, they went through a few different actresses for Princess Allura like throughout the early stages of production, and apparently they made her British because they went with Rhys Darby for Karan, who is funny. He's like a New Zealand version of D. Bradley Baker, kind of the way that he talks. He sounds a little bit like D. Bradley Baker. It's like if Wally from fucking Kids Next Door was like even more Australian. Because it's funny, somebody I know who's from Australia said that Number 4 actually sounded more British than he did Australian with the way the accent was performed. But anyway, apparently they decided to make Allura British, I think, because of the casting of Karan separately. And then I think if I'm remembering correctly, I think I even heard that they changed Allura's skin tone to kind of in tribute to Kimberly Brooks voicing her, which I thought was actually really cool because I didn't even know if that was like because of that or whatever, but it was a really nice kind of that version of Allura's design, like with the colors in particular, is really really striking looking, and I actually like it even more than the original. I mean, granted, I like these versions of the designs more than any of the originals. I love this character designer's work. I think it's really, really solid, and it works so well for the kind of the tone of the show and everything. But yeah, Allura, I think Allura and Pidge, also my designs are the favorite of them. Or those are my favorites. But anyway, I was saying also, Allura, like at first was kind of like, I was joking about Mike's impression of her. She's a little awkward, but I think that by the time I reach the end of the show, I like the fact that she's kind of awkward. Like it actually kind of makes her like kind of endearing, like more so than just because it's hard when it's like you're in that kind of position. It's like I'm the girl, like kind of character, or at least like in the scope of this particular story. But I think that they made an interesting kind of use of her, and I like the fact that she was still very like action oriented and like took a lot of initiative and stuff. And her inclusion in the last few episodes in particular actually were, even with like I guess, well, mild spoiler, but it's not that big of a deal. But she does get captured at one point, but it's not as simple as like, oh help me. Like it has like an actual purpose, and like she still makes use of the situation pretty well, which is cool. But yeah, villains left a little something to be desired. They weren't the most interesting characters ever. I'm assuming that we'll probably learn more about them in the coming episodes, and I think that the evil prince alien character, because he was never introduced yet in this season of episodes, so I'm assuming he'll probably show up and like later on, and he'll be like a bigger key player and everything. But also I will say I didn't really, and this is kind of something that I think about often is sometimes I don't always mind if like the villains are more of just like the threat that the good guys have to overcome, and it's more about their development with each other, which I think this was a good example of that, where it is mostly about the main five, kind of getting to know each other more and working through their own personal issues and having some interesting kind of moments and stuff. I think that probably the one criticism, like the one major criticism that I have, because everything else is just kind of nitpicky, but there's a lot of like sometimes it gets a little bit like too jokey at times. Like there were a lot of points where like, even though I like the dialogue a lot, I love the voice performances, it all fits together very well, there's just a lot of like, yes, thank you, yes, we know, guys, you're very funny, okay, shut up, please focus on the fucking matter at hand. But it wasn't enough to really like distract me too much from just the main enjoyment of the show. Animation, even though like I guess I'm kind of like half and half on the CG stuff when it comes to like combining CG and 2D stuff together, but I thought they made use of it really well. I like the now kind of differentiated designs of the lions as well. I thought that those were really nice looking. I would totally want to get a toy of that. I don't know if they're going to make any at some point, but they look really cool. The fight scenes were pretty neat. Both the out of robot and in robot ones were well choreographed and everything, just as I expected. There's a great, beautifully animated shot of Shiro fighting one of the alien like Grunt's characters. I think one of the named ones, whose name I can't remember because I suck. That was just like it was like a rotating shot or whatever that looks fucking awesome. So yeah, and animation, of course. I don't know if it is the same like studio that did the Avatar series. I think it was the one in Korea. But I'm assuming it. I think I heard that from somebody, but I'm not 100%. I haven't double checked. But either way, the people who did carry over from Avatar and the new people as well did a splendid job on the visuals. It looks really gorgeous. I love the color schemes of everything. I mentioned that on Princess Allura earlier, but just overall, like, really good use of, like, the bright kind of Power Rangers, or I guess Sentai-esque, I should say, kind of colors and stuff. I feel like I heard a few people kind of griping about the music. And fair enough, not like super memorable or whatever, but I will say the main theme, like for the opening, which also, side note, the opening is fucking awesome. I would watch it every time. Probably one, because it's short, but also, like, and the animation looks great. But yeah, just like the main theme, as you heard in the beginning, of this Kirblog too. And for the credits as well, I really like it. It was actually, like, pretty memorable, and it's a good general kind of composition and everything. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, like, it's pretty, like, generic kind of Hollywood-esque, like, orchestral score, but it was inoffensive. It was fine. It worked for what it was supposed to be. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. Again, not like the most, like, life-changing, amazing show in the world or whatever, but I can tell that it had a lot of, like, really, like, fine-tuned love and care put into it, a lot of, like, really good craftsmanship. I am definitely curious to see more and kind of see where it's going. The characters are all intriguing enough to me that I want to know what's going to happen next. I have a prediction that a certain one of the main characters is probably going to get killed off and replaced with Allura as one of the pilots of the other Lions. Because that is one thing that I do know about the original Voltron series, is that one of those characters dies, and then there's some rearrangement of the lines and everything. But yeah, we'll see what happens. You know, I have, like I said before, I have a pretty good feeling that this is going to get picked up for another season at least, and we'll see how long it goes for. Maybe in the second season it'll get, like, crazy amounts of good or whatever. Because even, like, looking back, you know, kind of similarly on Avatar, since a lot of people are drawing the same conclusions. Season 1 of Avatar isn't perfect. It's still really, really good, but it's not the same level of, like, oh my god, this is amazing, as, like, the second and third season progressively. So maybe it'll be ramping up and getting even bigger and better as things go on, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, yeah, it was really entertaining. I'm curious to see more, and that's kind of all I have to say so far. So that's it, just a little quick one. Just wanted to tell you all over while I'm recovering from the con by this point. But yeah, in the comments below, if you have checked out Voltron, leave your thoughts on the series, and any favorite characters, favorite moments, episodes, anything that you maybe want to see in the future episodes or anything like that. If you haven't seen the show, highly recommend you check it out on Netflix. It's technically 11 episodes, but it's more like 13 because, like, the first episode is about the length of 3 or so. So yeah, be sure to check that out. And if you have future Kirblog topic suggestions, leave a comment about that too, or hit me up on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, the usual. I'll catch you later. Form Voltron. I've got to form Voltron. Did I mention you need to form Voltron? Because you absolutely have to form Voltron.